I'm going to be really honest with you, and I feel like a lot of people can say the same thing. One of the biggest things coming into the offseason was, the regular stuff, Dodgers signing people, Yankees signing people, small market teams maybe not doing the most, but, having a little few signings in this free agency, right? But one thing that you would have never gotten out of me, I'm absolutely surprised is how much the Pirates have invested in this team. What the Pirates have done this offseason is absolutely fantastic. The amount of signings that they have made for the team and are still in multiple trade talks with other players is just insane. Because this is a Pirates team that doesn't usually sign people in free agency. They usually focus on the farm, or they do a little few signings then and there. Maybe like a 1-year deal, nothing really much to it. But it's just surprising how much they actually invested in the team, which is absolutely great. So today we're going to talk about these Pirate investments and what it actually means for the NL Central, because the NL Central is going to be absolutely fantastic and really competitive, something that it has not been in quite a bit of time. So let's talk about it. Before we move on to the actual video, if you guys can do me a huge favor, subscribe, like, comment. It really helps a lot, supports the channel. I'm really having a bunch of fun uploading these videos, so if you like MLB content, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Anyways, on to the video. When you talk about the Pirates, one of the biggest things that was mentioned and said last year was how Paul Skenes is being wasted. I mean, Paul Skenes was performing absolutely fantastic to the point where he did win the Cy Young last year for the NL. But the Pirates in general were just a horrendous team. They placed last place in the NL Central with 71 wins and 91 losses. Now, when you look at the offense, it was the absolute worst offense that you can think of. Nothing productive was going on in that offense. The batting average was a .231 and the worst in the MLB. And the OPS, well, .65. So overall, the offense just wasn't productive, and a lot of people were saying how Paul Skenes' prime or Paul Skenes' years in the Pirates have been such a waste because you have a Cy Young candidate in your roster. This is the second year you've had him. And the biggest thing that you wanted for 25 is to improve the offense, and the Pirates obviously did not do that, and they had a poor year. And even with Paul Skenes, you look at the Pirates' pitching, and it just was terrible as well. It ranked 21. So overall, the Pirates team just was not good. It looked absolutely terrible, and lots of people started speculating on the future of Paul Skenes, which Paul Skenes is one of the biggest stars in the Pirates team. It's just, he's absolutely out of this world fantastic. Now, this is when people just started speculating and Pirates fans started getting worried, because very much so, I don't blame them, because you look back in time and this just feels like a repeat of the same thing going on. You get a great pitcher, a great prospect. People like Garrett Cole, people like Tyler Glasnow had absolutely fantastic years, and nothing was done with them. They instead got traded away, and there was just no support for them. There was barely an investment, and it's just another copy of that. So for people to be worried about what's the future of Paul Skenes and this franchise, I feel like it's absolutely, respectable. It makes sense why you feel worried. So that being said, one of the biggest surprises on this offseason was when the Pirates, specifically when Kyle Schwarber was available. He was a free agent. There was a lot of offers. Lots of teams were in. Lots of people were, sending offers. And one of the names that not a lot of people knew were going to be in on Kyle Schwarber were the Pirates. Now, I'm pretty sure by now, all of you guys know that the Pirates didn't end up getting Kyle Schwarber. He ended up staying with the Phillies, signing a 5-year deal. But the Pirates did end up sending an offer 4 years for, I believe it was 120 or 125. At one point they said it was 120, but then they updated it to 125. So for 125, the Pirates did end up having a better deal, but Schwarber decided to stay with the Phillies because of possibly the bigger chance of staying in the playoffs. But the thing that was good about this is the Pirates went out again and continued to be involved in a bunch of different trade talks. Now, the Pirates did end up getting involved in multiple different trades, one of them being the Brandon Lowe trade that involved him coming from the Tampa Rays. Now, the Pirates did end up getting multiple players from the Tampa Rays trade, this being also Brandon Lowe, which is the biggest name out of the trade. They also got relief pitcher Mason Montgomery and outfielder Jake Magnum. Now, Brandon Lowe is an amazing, fantastic addition, I think, to the team. They get their second baseman, and they get a person that's great at the bat. He averaged a .256 and an OPS of 785, which is absolutely fantastic. If Brandon Lowe manages to continue to stay healthy, I think he's a great player in addition towards the Pirates team. Now, we still got more trades. Moving on to the next trade. Well, I said trades. This sure isn't a trade, but it's something that the Pirates haven't done in multiple years since 2016, where they signed a free agent and offered multiple different years. So, you know, this year they said, let's actually spend money, which is great. I love that for the Pirates and for, you know, the Pirates fans. They went out there and said 2025 All-Star Ryan O Hearn, which he had a fantastic season last year. If you guys don't remember, he originally started with the Baltimore Orioles, and you know how bad that went. You know, Baltimore, great names. I thought it was a great name on paper, but just did not end up doing well. So then they traded him away to the San Diego Padres, where he did in total, his year was pretty good. He had a batting average of .281 with a OPS of .803. So the Pirates did end up getting a fantastic acquisition. So realistically, the offensive side is just going to be great when it comes to Brandon Lowe and Ryan O Hearn. So there's a lot of exciting things to look forward to if you're a Pirates fan. I'm a Brewers fan, so you know, I can't wait for Freddie Peralta to strike you out. But in all seriousness, it's great to see that the Pittsburgh Pirates are actually investing in their team and, you know, putting effort towards making the team better, especially when you have a Cy Young player such as Paul Skenes. You don't want to waste those years that you have with him because, you know, it's not always a guarantee that you're going to have enough money at the time to sign him to a huge extension, which, once again, you paying money or like looking for free agents might be a great sign of them actually extending Paul Skenes, because lots of people always think that he's going to get traded away once he loses most of the control with the club. So great things to see. But lastly, for the Pittsburgh Pirates, they've already signed quite a few people, but they're not stopping there. From what it looks like, they're interested and have been linked towards Kazumi Okamoto, who has played for the Japanese league overseas. He's been playing pretty good. He played pretty good last season. He did end up with a .322 batting average and a .992 OPS, which is absolutely fantastic. He looks like he would be a great addition towards the Pittsburgh Pirates. They are linked, but as of now, they have not been signed. You know, other teams have also been linked towards this player. People like the Blue Jays, people like the Red Sox, but overall, still nothing, not really much going on there. So Pirates have been linked for quite a bit of time, but still, once again, no signing there. When you really look into it, the NL Central is actually going to be chaotic next year. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be competitive, something I feel like that it hasn't been in quite a bit of time. Most of the last few years, it's always been the Brewers, Cubs, 1-2, and then you might get a little change in with the Reds at third or St. Louis at third, but the Pirates always place last. So usually the most competitive people were the Cubs and the Brewers. Now with the Pirates getting engaged in money talks and trying to remain competitive and stay in the NL Central, you know, try to remain and get the actual division. This is going to be a really interesting next few months when it comes to signings, and once the regular season starts, going to be really interesting because the Cubs haven't really done much. The Brewers haven't really done much when it comes to free agency and signing other players. Instead, the Cubs, it looks like they're going to lose Kyle Tucker. The Brewers, it looks like they possibly might trade Freddie Peralta away. That's been a person of interest from many teams and a person that they seem on possibly moving on due to him only having 1 year left in his contract. So, I mean, so when it comes to the Cubs and Brewers, there's not a lot of signings going on. Not compared to other teams, but they don't necessarily need that when it comes to that because they have a fantastic farm system. They have people, great prospects, so they don't necessarily need it. But when you make it only 1 round in the playoffs or 2 round in the playoffs and are very close to making it far and making a good playoff run, you would think, hey, maybe we need to sign a few big names to make it to the World Series, but that's not what is happening. But it seems like the Pirates are making some signings. And I think another team that's really interesting and not a lot of people are talking and overall, I just think they're very much under the radar are the Cincinnati Reds. They went pretty crazy when it came to the deadline in 2025. They did end up signing Gavin Lux and Cameron Hayes, which is great additions for the team, but they're also right now interested in signing other players. They're linked towards trying to get Luis Robert Jr. from the Chicago White Sox, so that would be a very interesting addition when it comes to that team. And you know, a team that I haven't really mentioned is The St. Louis Cardinals, from what it looks like, they're kind of rebuilding. They're going to see what they could do there. I mean, they just traded away Sonny Gray. They're just trading away their bigger pieces. So I doubt the Cardinals are going to be any type of competitive. They're going to have a downfall year, which is absolutely fine after a disastrous last few years of not being able to get the division. It absolutely makes sense on why they're taking that direction. But overall, this NLC Central going to be fantastic. It's going to be really competitive, so I'm excited to see who ends up on top. I feel like overall I could go to anybody because these signings that all the teams are making, I mean, specifically the Reds and Pirates, that they're making efforts to be competitive in the league. The Reds are going to be absolutely fantastic. I mean, dude, you have Ellie De La Cruz. You have a great pitching staff with Abbott. You got a great pitching staff with Hunter Green. So you guys have great pitching. They're continuing to try to add on the offensive side. The Pirates are adding on the offensive side. They have Cy Young, Paul Skenes. The Brewers are already great as it is. They have Jackson Chiro. They have Christian Yelich. And I mean, if you really want to go to the Cubs, they have Shota Imanaga. They have Cade Horton. Fantastic person who's done great. Just unfortunately did not play in the playoffs, but the Cubs have a lot of things going. Although they did lose Kyle Tucker, they have a great offensive side. When it comes to the Pete Crow, Armstrong did great. Although he did slow down the last few months, he started off great. So he has a lot of great potential there when it comes to there. So there's a lot of great things to talk about every single team. Once again, sorry St. Louis fans, man. There's just not much there. I mean, your prospects are great. You know, just give them a few months, a few years to let them grow, and you know you'll be competitive again. But overall, NLC Central is great. Well, all right, guys, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment. If you guys do enjoy this MLB content or have any suggestions, please comment below on what you guys would like to see. Anyways, if you guys could do me a huge favor, remember, subscribe, like, comment. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.